I'm just muting all of you. Sorry. Yeah. Good evening or good morning, wherever you are. And oh, wait, I have to. Sorry for the delay. I was in another Zoom just now, and Rinpoche was just teaching until now. So, I hope you're all well and okay. And let's maybe start with a good motivation, which is, of course, Bodhicitta. And let's start with actually refuge in Bodhicitta. I have some prayers here. Wait a moment. Da-da-dum. One second. I think somebody is not hearing me, but is the rest hearing me? Yes. So then, Inge, that's your personal problem. Sorry, maybe there is something in the setting that is not working. Maybe you can figure it out. So let's start with the prayers. Da-dum, da-dum. So I hope you can see that. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly, I take refuge until enlightenment. Through the merit of practicing generosity and so forth, may I accomplish Buddhahood for the benefit of beings. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly, I take refuge until enlightenment. Through the merit of practicing generosity and so forth, may I accomplish Buddhahood for the benefit of beings. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly, I take refuge until enlightenment. Through the merit of practicing generosity and so forth, may I accomplish Buddhahood for the benefit of beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings never be parted from sorrowless bliss. May all sentient beings abide in great equanimity, free from bias, attachment, and hatred. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings never be parted from sorrowless bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from bias, attachment, and hatred. So, yeah, thanks again for waiting. And welcome to this Bodhicaryavatara session. As you might be aware, we are in the 6th chapter, which is the chapter on patience. And also patience is, as His Holiness the Dalai Lama always says, it's not always, but as he says, patience is, of course, not a weakness, but it's a paramita practice. So it's a strength, because we are able to keep a calm and peaceful mind even in difficult situations. So that doesn't mean we let other people take advantage of us. It doesn't mean that we let other people abuse us or those things, that we are the doormat of others. But it means that we have the ability to keep calm, cool, relaxed, open, clear, and compassionate and skillful. So then in that kind of state, we then decide how to answer to a particular difficult situation. And we need that absence of anger in order to have that ability to keep that calm, serene, and compassionate mind, and this wisdom intact, so that we then know, okay, in this situation to that person, it is best to answer, to reply, or to react like this or that. So that is the whole idea of this chapter 6. this chapter 6 starts, and we are still in that first part, about anger and the side effects of anger or of hatred, if you want. And these are important to understand so that we are not thinking that it's problem free, this emotion, that we don't think that is something to be cultivated or to be expressed. It is, of course, something that we feel maybe every day in more subtle versions, like aversion and so on. But it is always harmful. It's always destructive. It's distractive. It's always destructive. It's always blinding, and so on. And that is that is what Shantideva is introducing us in these first verses. Of course, sometimes in another context, there is somebody who is then usually quoting the Mahamudra teachings when it comes to how to deal with emotions, and that maybe anger is not always destructive. And yes, from those teachings like Mahamudra, Dzogchen, and so on, the teaching, the emotions, when dealt properly with awareness, they arise as wisdom. Yes, but then if they arise as wisdoms, they are not these emotions anymore. They are not hatred. So therefore, if they arise as wisdoms, then of course they are not problematic but beneficial. But then on that level, they are not hatred anymore. So here, when Shantideva is talking about the side effects or disadvantages of hatred and aversion and all of that, and anger, then that means it is really like the usual anger that we have, where we don't apply any method or skill or therapy onto it. So just this sheer normal anger that is destructive and harming us. And Shantideva is, and we are in that, is explaining us how harmful or what kind of disadvantages there are. And now let's find the root text. We are actually in verse number 8 of the 6th chapter. And maybe as introduction to verse 8, in the previous verses, Shantideva was investigating where anger or hatred is coming from, and he's saying it is coming from a mental unhappiness. This is here in verse 7. It's a mental unhappiness, or like a bitterness or irritativeness, something like that. And so that is sort of the building block of anger. So it starts small, just with a teeny tiny dissatisfaction or small frustration, those things. And then if we don't do anything about it, then it can escalate into a full-grown hatred. So therefore, it is important to apply the previous chapters of mindfulness and awareness, vigilance, and introspection to detect this building block, this mental unhappiness, this tiny frustration in our mind, and then notice it as soon as it's arising. And this is really meditative, and then once it's arising, we just don't do anything with it. We are not suppressing it. We are not getting entangled in it. We just let it come and let it go. But we are not making any story out of it. We are not nourishing it. It's just like a cloud that is passing by, or a car that is passing by, not doing anything with it. And that is the idea here. And this is what is coming in verse 8, Therefore, I should totally eradicate the fuel of this enemy, for this enemy has no other function than, sorry for that, than that of causing harm. Yeah. So when we look into the commentaries, then, yeah, in the first verse, Shantideva, first line here of this verse 8, Shantideva is really trying to encourage us, or he's committing himself, to not give into it, to stop feeding any anger or hatred. So when there is mental unhappiness, for example, when I'm irritated by somebody, then that I'm not going into that irritation and making it bigger, by justifying that irritation. Ah, yeah, he did that, she said that, she was looking like that, but we just don't go into that. We just look into our mind, what is happening, and yeah, as I said, we just do nothing with it, not even ignoring it. That is too much. But just let it arise and then dissolve. And that is the common strategy of meditation, that we try to find any irregularities in our mind as soon as possible, when they are small, before they grow bigger. Yeah, and I'm sure we have many different examples, like normally you can use like a seed that is giving rise to a very small sprout. That is very easy to take out, but once you nourish that with water, sun, time, and soil, then it becomes a tree, and then it's difficult to remove. Or maybe with cancer, it's similar, it's also like, cancer starts very small and then it's getting bigger and bigger, and then it's spreading. So therefore, the earlier you catch it and do something about it, the less complications. Yeah, there are many of those examples where we start, where we try to be very fast and stop something from getting bigger. I think Patrul Rinpoche is using the example, if you have like a field and whatever, you grow potatoes or tomatoes, and then there's a fence around the field, a fence around the garden or the field, and then as soon as the pig of the neighbor is putting its snout or nose through the fence, then you should hit the snout, immediately, the nose of the pig, so that it's not grabbing any potatoes. But you have to be, but once the pig is in your garden, it's difficult to chase it out. Yeah, I'm sure you know Patrul Rinpoche, his book or his biography, the Enlightened Vagabond. So he is like, yeah, he's very like a nomad, and therefore has also that kind of examples always, with yaks and pigs and food and grass and all of that. Yeah, so that is the idea here also. And as I said, how we do it by applying mindfulness and awareness to really see quickly that that those irregularities are arising in our mind, those mental unhappinesses. And of course, it's also good to remember the Buddha nature, that we know, wait, that aversion is just something very adventitious to our mind. It's not my real nature. So that we are not getting that we're not identifying with that cloud, but that we sort of stay in the blue sky, that idea. So that always helps, if we remember that we are not the clouds, we are not the weather, we are not whatever happens in the sky, but we are the sky. So therefore, this meditative approach is like that, to identify those clouds quickly and then don't identify with them, But then apply the antidotes, which is mindfulness, for example, or maybe if maybe patience in our example here, or bodhicitta in general. And yeah, as Shantideva said in the end of this verse, oh, it's still showing, right? In the end of this verse, anger has no other function than causing harm. Yeah, I think that is explained earlier, that we can't sleep, we can't concentrate, we can't have joy, we can't have a calm mind if we are full of hatred, And it also, in the very first verse of this chapter, Shantideva said, it destroys so much virtue and merit. So therefore it means it's also destroying our future, because if we destroy our merit or good karma, then our future that is or our good future that would have been dependent on our good karma or merit will not happen, because you take away the sources of it. So that is the reason why we should do like that. Does that make sense? If not, please just unmute yourself and let's discuss on that.
Thank you. This is the first time I'm attending the session. I didn't even know it existed, but now it's wonderful that it's available online. I think it's a constant push and pull. It's the self-centered, is the anger, is the aversion. I don't want it. I want to be happy, and then being angry with whoever or whatever, because you want to be happy. So always going towards happiness, but that push and pull constant. But to me, the challenge is the awareness when the thing, when it's arising, and depending on the situation, how to catch it early, to be like a piece of wood, as I don't remember, but
this is the first chapter. Yes.
To be like a piece of wood.
Yes.
I think the reactive and I think depending, I don't know, well, I'm going to say depending on our personalities. Some people, they naturally, they hold more, they manage to stay quiet. Others, they are more reactive, and then if the anger comes, like being anyway. But yeah, without the awareness, I think there is no hope.
Yes, I know, I agree. Some people are like this, or some others, they are less reactive or more reactive. But that is, according to Shantideva, and this is coming very soon, this is, of course, not something that is a gift from God, but this is just a result of training, and maybe not training in this life, but maybe training in previous lives. So that I always escalate very quickly, from a small frustration to a full-grown hatred. That is because I'm just not trained to be mindful and aware and patient. So therefore, it goes quickly in my mind unnoticeably, and then the full-grown cancer is in my mind, and spreading. But everything is trainable, so therefore I can also train mindfulness, awareness, patience, and then I can see those things happening in my mind, escalating in my mind, more like in slow motion. And then I have more, or with a little bit gap, and then I have I have more chance to not get entangled into it. And then, I appear as not being reactive from outside. But again, it's not because somebody gifted me with that talent, but it's just because I trained in it, Yeah, so I think mind the gap is important, that we keep always a small gap between us and the arising emotion. What do you think, Emilia? You have to unmute yourself if you want to answer.
Yes, I really, well, that's very British, mind the gap.
Yeah.
You know, that's the London Tube.
I know.
Yeah, absolutely, mind the gap. Yeah, I recognize, but sometimes I recognize after the action on the mouth, because again, some people, they hold it. They may be like inside boiling, but they hold. I'm not there. It's the natural is to talk, and then to be able to have some distance. Actually, nowadays, because we all having meetings on Zoom, is actually helping a lot, because you have a flat screen, it's two-dimensional, and it really helps to bring like some distance. If I wish I can even put the picture of His Holiness, I can put a picture here, and I'm in the meeting, and I have a perspective. If you are there, you can't do it.
And
I'm not going to carry. Yeah. If you are, you know, with a bunch of people in a meeting and you start to get irritated, I'm not going to bring a picture of His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, and just put there. It's like, well, you know, that helps me keeping grounded.
Yeah.
It wouldn't fly.
Yeah, you can always, shrink the window of Zoom and you don't have to see the faces. Or if you're the host of the Zoom, you can remove them even from the event. No, but I'm not talking, I mean, yes, it's helpful to keep a gap between the person who is irritating you. But the most important gap is, of course, in your mind, that you have a gap to our emotion, right?
Yes.
And yeah, I wanted to say something else, but yeah, but that is just trainable, and yeah, that's what I meant earlier. It's a matter of identification, you know, that we don't identify with those happenings in our mind, you know, with the clouds in the sky, but that we remember that is just a very adventitious, superficial event that is happening on the, you know, out there in the mind still, but by nature, I'm really different. You know, I'm clarity. I'm His Holiness the Dalai Lama saying kindness, you know, or wisdom. Maitreya is also saying that is, we have to remember that, you know, the primordial wisdom, that is more our nature. So, and that helps also to keep the gap, I think. But yeah, of course, it's a big endeavor, you know, because we are so used to identify with our emotions, and we think we feel alive, you know, even when we have emotions. But I think it's like you know, the Stockholm syndrome. So the emotions, they are not really good, you know. They are like taking hostage of you. And then, because you don't have any other reference, you then you make friends with them, and you think they're your friends, but actually they're the people who take you hostage and throw you into the prison of samsara. Yeah, it's a very tragic situation, I think.
Yeah, Rinpoche. I don't remember which was what teachings, and he was saying, look at absolutely everything, emotions, everything, how you see as is there but it's not there. His way to tap into emptiness, independent arising, is there but it's not there.
Yeah, that's from the Heart Sutra, right? Form is emptiness, emptiness is form. So yes, everything is there on one level, and on the other hand, nothing is there. Yes.
Anger is the same thing. All the emotions, everything, the opinions we have about everything is there, but it's not there.
Yeah, form is only an example by Avalokiteshvara in the Heart Sutra. Yes. Yeah, everything is like that. So therefore, everything is important on the relative level, but on the absolute level, nothing is important. And we sort of have to navigate sanely through that paradox.
Yes. I'll just keep quiet so other folks say, oh yeah, folks, I like to talk.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Anything? Oh, Ray. Yeah. Ray. I don't know how to.
Hi.
Hi.
I find it, I can see that all picture in my mind, and when I'm in the actual moment of the irritation, I can start to feel it arise. But like Amelia said, I have to, a few minutes later or an hour later that I realize, oh, that's what hooked me in. And just I guess going back to the practice of realizing it over and over again before when it arises to be the piece of wood. It's a hard step to get from the brain or the thought that this is what's going on to the actual practice of seeing what's going on. Does that make sense?
Yes. This is always the longest journey, right? From the head to the heart, or head to the eye. What you are saying with seeing, yeah. But yeah, we have to start somewhere with the head. We have to first understand and learn in theory, and then by applying that again and again, yeah, we will be able to see it. And also, yeah, if I'm noticing like half an hour later that I said something harsh or negative to somebody, maybe that is already an achievement. Maybe, usually maybe it would take me one day to to have that insight. So so I think that is also it's totally human, that we still follow our habits and express maybe things that are hurtful to others. But if we are at least able to recognize that more early, that is also good. It's all a matter of training, really. Like there's nothing. I think Shantideva is saying there's nothing that doesn't get easier by training. And also, yeah, you a little bit referred to that, and Emilia was saying that it's of course not about bottling up, like suppressing our anger in our body. Like from psychosomatic point of view, you can express anger and use words, for example, and that will harm the other person. Or you can suppress it, and that makes you sick. Or you can, there's a third one. How do they? Yeah, you somatize it. So there are different ways, and all of them have side effects and disadvantages. But from Buddhist point of view, the idea is really that we see a teeny tiny aversion or frustration, and therefore that nothing even grows that big that needs to be expressed, somatized, or suppressed or expressed. Yeah. So the idea is that anger doesn't even arise, because once it is arisen, it will create a problem. Either if you express it to somebody, if you dramatize it, or if you suppress it, it always is a problem. So, and the meditative approach is to prevent it from arising. So that is a preventive medical approach. Yeah. But yeah, it's really a matter of training, and maybe somebody has more the inclination to be angry easily, or somebody more with jealousy. There's some we are different. And maybe for me, anger is more easy, but yeah, arrogance is more difficult. So then Jamgon Kongtrul Lototai is telling us, yeah, find your biggest enemy first, and then work on that. And then all the rest will be taken care of.
That's helpful. the biggest enemy first.
Yeah, really, because then that is also encouraging, because you will make a progress if you apply the antidotes, and then that really has a big change in your life. You know, as I said, what did I say? Arrogance. If that is my biggest problem, that also means it is creating the biggest problems in my life. And if I can work on that, I really get rid of many big problems. And since all emotions are I mean, if that is my, if I don't see my video, right? I see. Yeah, if that is my ignorance, you know, the whole book, and if I start with this corner, this emotion or that emotion, it doesn't make much difference, you know. I just start somewhere, and then the whole book, you know, the whole ignorance and all the other emotions will also disappear at some point. Yeah. Anybody else? Otherwise, we go to the next verse.
Okay, I'm confused about how do we find our biggest enemy? I mean, I feel like there are so many things I should work on. I don't know where to start.
Biggest enemy is, I'm talking about these 5 emotions, you know. Do you think you are more the desire type, greed type, or are you more the jealous type or the arrogant and the jealous type who is competing with others and who always feels I'm not getting enough, and who's always hungry and not content, or more the aversion type, you know, like everything irritates you, and there are so many enemies out there or people who threaten you. What else? Arrogant, that you think everybody else is stupid and you're the only one with qualities, and you're the best, and you don't need anything. But arrogance can also mean like this inferior complex, you know, that you feel like the worst. That is the same, you know, it's just a different manifestation of it. So if you're thinking you are not worth it, you're the lowest of the lowest, no qualities, and Buddhahood is too difficult, or Bodhisattva is too difficult. Did I miss anything? Yeah, ignorance. That is, I never want to mention a particular president, but you know, if you have if you constantly decide for the wrong thing, you know, if you have so many choices, but you always end up deciding the wrong thing, you know, that it produces more racism or more destruction or more separation, that is then ignorance is your talent and your main problem. Yeah, so I think it's good to check what your habits are and see which one is the biggest, and then be especially mindful and careful about that.
Thanks, that will give me food for thought.
Good. But also it's saying that some people, they have all 5 in an equal amount, and that is actually a good thing, because nobody has all 5 in a very high amount. But usually we have one more than the other. And then, of course, there are also trainings, you know, how to work with that. But anyway, so these 5 negative emotions, they all have their own antidotes. So it's good then, of course, to apply those. But the main antidote, the general antidote, is applicable from what Shantideva is saying here. Just whatever of these emotion is arising in in a small way, then be aware of it and not getting entangled in it, and not do anything with it, but remain like a piece of wood, you know, like unmoving. Is that okay, Katja?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, then let's go to the next verse, which could be shared. Da-da-dum. So, number 9. Whatever befalls me, I shall not disturb my mental joy. For having been made unhappy, I shall not accomplish what I wish, and my virtues will decline. Yeah, if we see that, if we look at the negative emotion as an enemy, then yeah, it is only us that is suffering from it, or mainly us. Yeah, if I'm angry, there's no space for joy or happiness in my mind. There's no calm in my mind, and I get annoyed. And therefore, Shantideva is suggesting us and encouraging us not to let anger, disturb our mental joy. And it's also good maybe to really make a commitment that we, like in the morning when we wake up, or we make a commitment just for today, or maybe until lunch, I will not get angry. I will not let my mind be disturbed by any agitation, frustration, bitterness, depression, or something like that. So that kind of commitment can be good. And we can also apply some slogans that you find on Facebook, like don't let don't let idiots ruin your day, whatever helps you, or keep on smiling, but really like authentically. So the teachers do suggest those things, that in the morning we should create a little bit of a commitment or determination to travel through the day in an undisturbed way. I'm sure you have heard about Buddha Akshobhya, who also did that, but he promised that for his whole life, I will never get angry again. He was really proclaiming it. And therefore he also got the name Akshobhya, the undisturbed one. And the reason is easy, because one cannot have joy or hatred at the same time in our mind. And joy is just a much better mental state than hatred. And as Shantideva here continues in the last 2 lines, is because if we lose our joy, then we cannot really do anything. We will not be focused. We will be feeling bitter. We might even plan our revenge, or our thoughts are circling around who is disturbing us. And we will either not do something new, what is positive or meritorious, but also our positive thoughts or virtuous thoughts or compassionate feelings, they will also decline the more we get entangled in anger or hatred. So therefore Shantideva is asking us to keep a certain firmness in our mind, to not get disturbed. It is really like a little bit like a decision, and then also like something that we have intent to create intentionally. And we have to do that because we just have a habit that is doing otherwise. We have the habit to get always entangled in whatever is happening in our mind and create stories and movies out of that. And endlessly we are used to do that. And so here the Shantideva's idea is to be a little bit firm and disciplined, to not go into that direction. Okay, I think that is maybe clear. Oh yeah, then comes a very famous thought. Wait, I show you the picture to that. Hopefully I can find it. Da-da-dum. This is the next verse, and I think that is maybe good to show. I'm always careful what to share here, otherwise I share my... So where are we? Wait, maybe first I show the verse and then we go into that. So the verse is saying, why be unhappy about something if it can be remedied? And what is the use of being unhappy about something if it cannot be remedied? So what I wanted to share was this one. So I think you can't see my mouse, right, my cursor, but in the upper right corner, do you have a problem in life? So yes, let's say we have no problem, of course, then no need to worry, that is easy. But then if we have a problem, that is what Shantideva was talking about, then the question is, can we do something about it? For example, if we just spill, let's say my kitchen, let's assume my kitchen floor is relatively clean, yeah? So let's say I spill like uncooked rice a little bit or noodles uncooked on my floor, then yes, I can do something about it. You know, I can just take them back and cook them. You know, they will be disinfected enough by boiling. So therefore, can you do something about it? Yes. So therefore, I don't need to worry, but just pick up the rice and the noodles and cook them. Why worry? Or the other question is, can you do something about it? Let's say I'm not the rice is falling down or the noodles, but maybe the glass and it's breaking completely. So I can't solve that problem. So therefore, there's also no need to worry. That is can you do something about it? No. Then why worry? So there is no need to worry either. A second picture, which is, I think, basically the verse, but it's also nice. No, it's still the same one, sorry. If I'm oversharing, just let me know. Here. This one. If you can solve your problem, then what is the need of worrying? Yeah, the uncooked rice on the floor. No problem, you know, this is really solvable. So no need to worry, but I can whistle. But if I cannot solve it because the glass is just broken, yeah, then I have no other choice to accept it anyway. And then there is no use of worrying. I'm sure you have seen maybe the cup of Dzongsar Khyentse Rinpoche, the movie. In the end, that verse is also shown in the trailer. And yeah, I think it's very easy to get the idea, but again, it also takes time then to apply it in a frustrating situation or a difficult situation. But the more we get used to it, the more easygoing we become, or more relaxed we will be, and therefore we no longer grant any access to. We no longer grant anger any access to our mind. Is that understandable, or shall we discuss anything about that on that?
Okay, I have a question about that. Because there's a member of the family who seems to believe that if you don't take these problems at heart, it's like you're giving up it's like you don't say anything. I think it's an identity problem, but I'm trying to make some distance with it, but it's kind of difficult to hold my ground and to say, look, you won't change anything about this by expressing your frustration. And it really doesn't work. And I don't know, I'm sometimes losing passions because of this reaction, and he's completely oblivious to this kind of wisdom. I'm not really sure what is my question. I'm sharing, sorry.
No, but I agree. The frustration doesn't help if there's a problem. Like, again, from psychosomatic point of view, if you get an illness, that is your first problem, But then if you have overly aversion to it, then you create a second problem, which is equally of size, So you have a double problem, and that is so unnecessary. And I think that goes with all other problems. If something goes wrong, like, let's say, a small thing, and of course we have first world problems that is not even a problem for others, but let's say I still have those problems and I'm suffering from them, that I don't find the remote of my TV, and then I suffer. But if I then get overly frustrated or angry with myself, like this auto-aggressive tendency we might have, that is creating another problem, maybe even a much bigger problem than remote control that is somewhere hidden behind any whatever cushion or so therefore but I think that could be understandable, no? That if there is a problem, if we then create mentally another problem, how we relate to that first problem, that this is not helpful for anyone, and that it also blocks us to find a good solution, because the frustration or anger, again, steals our clarity.
I think Katja was also referring to, were you also referring to the worry, but in relation to others that also have worries and so on, and you want to tell them and share with them, like, why are you worrying? If there is a solution, or if there is no solution, why worrying? But then you feel like you are losing a battle because they don't understand it.
Yeah, that's what I meant. The frustration they have or the worry they have is creating a second problem on top of the first one. And that is so useless and only harming them.
Yes, I suppose I should take this as an exercise of patience, because I can only work on me, really. But it's just, I feel a little bit sad and frustrated for them, because I think maybe their life would be also easier if, but well, that's my journey, not theirs, maybe.
Yeah, but your responsibility is, I think, just to give a good example, by not talking about it, but just living it, and showing that, there can be a more cheerful way or relaxed way of dealing with difficult situations. I mean, I don't know if you're talking about kids, but kids normally don't listen so much to the words, but just watch you, and copy you. So therefore, I think education doesn't make sense anyway, because they are watching you anyways. Just joking. But so I think that is the best way of inspiring them, by just doing it differently or more easily.
It seems like if you stay in the not knowing mindset, that has helped me, that I don't know, I don't have the answers. And in our age of anxiety, as someone wrote, we're always wanting to fix something or have the answer for something. And if you stay in that place of not knowing and not attached to the outcome, it kind of calms the situation.
Yeah.
That's been my experience.
Not knowing the outcome. Can you elaborate on that?
Ask me that again.
What did you mean by not knowing the outcome?
So if there's climate change or something that's really big and you're trying to be proactive or stand up for something that you believe in, but you don't really know the outcome of whether that wise action is going to do something or not, and just stay in the place of not knowing it. I found it equalizes the situation.
Yeah.
And especially with kids, it relaxes them because they are constantly thinking that somebody always has the answer. But we don't a lot of times. Is that speaking to your question, Arne?
Yeah, and Katja.
Or Katja?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I was actually speaking about grown-ups, so I'm losing patience a little bit. But anyways, the input is very interesting, and yeah, I think maybe also, one day I will have a surprise. Who knows?
But also grown-ups, they watch you, how you behave and what you do, and yeah, of course. And as Zhang is saying, yeah, it's easier said than done, basically. But again, through practice, it will be easier done than said at some point. When one will yeah, get used to it. So very. And yeah, also one important thing, like Dzongsar Khyentse Rinpoche, I heard him saying that once. It was 1999 when he was talking about a couple, and one is an alcoholic, and you're trying to change your husband, let's say, who's an alcoholic, and then of course you do your best, that's it, but then you have to let it go, you, like Ray was saying, sort of Rinpoche was saying, you cannot be goal orientated, you cannot have a fixed grasping at the outcome, how it should be and how quick it should be. This will create a burnout in you, if you always get so fixated on the outcome, on the goal. You just do your best. That's all you can do, but then you let go. Why? Because your husband, who's, let's say, an alcoholic, maybe he was an alcoholic since like 10 lifetimes, and you are just married now for 30 years. And of course, it's difficult to change his habit of addiction. But yeah, you do your best. That's it, and you wish for the best, but then you have to let it go. Inge, can you unmute yourself? Yes. Yes.
Hello, everybody. I'm Inge from Austria. Maybe we didn't hear each other in the beginning.
From Austria, good.
Yes, from Austria.
Grüezi. Nee, das sagen die Schweizer, ne? Hallo, ja. No, wie sagt man auf Österreichisch Hallo?
Servus.
Oh, servus, yes, servus.
Beste Grüße vom Christian übrigens.
Dankeschön.
But sometimes, to come back to the subject, sometimes you have there's no way out. If you brought the example with the alcoholic, but I bring another example. If you, or I'm not someone, taking care of a friend since 35 years. He had a stroke when he was 42. Now he's 78, and it's getting worse and worse. Yeah, and he's getting more and more angry, and he leaves everything out of his frustration inability to talk and to understand. Therefore, he needs someone to put all this from him to another person. And it's me because I'm the closest. Yeah. So, I mean, what can I do? There's really, okay, I can let it go. I try. But sometimes it's just impossible. Yeah. It's so heavy sometimes. I've made a picture of this photo. I will print it out and put it over my table and look at it every day.
What picture?
Maybe it helps.
What picture?
The picture you.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah. Do you have any problem? Yes or no? And it's all the same. The goal is always the same.
I can also email it to you if then maybe it's better quality.
Yeah, can't you hear me properly?
No, I can email you the picture, then it's better quality.
Oh yes, thank you.
But Katja also found it apparently on a link somewhere. Yes, exactly. Yeah, but yeah.
So I would just wanted to say sometimes there's no way to I can't leave him alone. Yeah. Therefore, I have to be there and to work on myself to handle with it. Yeah?
But for that, I also heard many Rinpoches, sometimes you need a gap, you need your alone time, you need your privacies, you know, and to recharge.
And I'm here back in Graz now. I've spent 6 months in the countryside where he lives, but now I'm back in Graz and I can already feel, I'm here since 10 days, that I'm getting quieter and it's getting better. Yeah.
But also while you are there, let's say you are there for 6 months, like every day, try to have your small holidays, you know, that you always have like an island, you know, where to rest and regenerate. Yeah. So that it's not building up, you know, the stress and the burden or responsibility.
Okay, this was my example. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's a great example. And yeah. And yeah, one has to, I mean, not has, but we all try our best. But yeah, we cannot expect that a solution is happening. But still, yeah, we try our best with care and compassion and love. Yeah. Okay, then next verse. 11. Now it's getting difficult. So for myself, for my friends, I want no suffering, no disrespect, no harsh words, and nothing unpleasant. But for my enemies, it's the opposite. Okay, I will copy that and create something. So, sorry, it's not prepared. I will just do it here on the go. So here Shantideva is introducing 70 types of situation where we want to be patient. For my friends, I want no suffering, no disrespect, no pleasure. So let's cut it like that. Light was. So that is the verse. And we are talking about 3 types of people here. So the first type is myself. Second is my friends. And then third is my enemies. So that's okay. Let's make it with colors. Myself is green. My friends is green. Oops, sorry. My friends means also my circle. You know, my lovers, my kids, my partners, my guru, my land, my people of my land, my my country people, my village people, whatever. Village people is a group. Here. And so we want 4 things, and these 4 things are here. So colorful today. So no suffering. No, maybe easier we call it suffering, disrespect, harsh words, and unpleasant words. Okay, so I mean, it's very obvious for the green people, ourselves and our people. We want good things. We want no suffering. We want no disrespect. We want no harsh words. We want nothing unpleasant to hear. But for my enemies, yeah, maybe we don't have like a official arch enemy in our life, but whatever person is difficult with, I mean, whatever person we have difficulties with, could be an annoying colleague or so. So for them, we might want the opposite. So we might want them to have suffering, disrespect, harsh words, and unpleasant things. Okay, and now there are 72 situations where we need to practice patience. So regarding ourselves, regarding myself, this is the first thing. I don't want these negative 4. Yeah, I don't want suffering, disrespect, harsh words, and unpleasant. Yeah. Then I also don't want, no, maybe not myself, but first we do, sorry. So that is what I don't want. I don't want these negative 4 for myself. Then I don't want these negative 4 for my, what is it, friends. And I don't want these positive 4 for my enemies. Yeah, so I don't want that my enemies getting happiness, respect, I don't know, soothing words and pleasant things, the opposites. So there are 12 things I don't want. Yeah, 4. And then there are 12 things I do want. And these are, no, it's opposite, sorry. I'm always getting confused. That's why I'm writing it down. And then, okay, forget this. So these first 12 is when these 12 things happen, then I need to be patient, right? So if I get suffering, if I get disrespect, if I get harsh words, if I get unpleasant things, I need to be patient. The same with my friends. And then the opposite, if my enemies get happiness, if my enemies get respect, if my enemies get nice words and pleasant situation, I need to be patient. So now the next one is 12 situations when something hinders that what I want. It is like that way around. So that is first, if I don't get the 4 positive, So if somebody wanted to please me or respect me, but then somebody is hindering it, yeah? If somebody wants to praise me and say nice things to me, and then somebody is preventing that or hindering that, that is a problem. And the same is, of course, true with if my friends don't get the 4 positive. So if somebody wanted to be nice to my mother and then somebody is stopping that, then I have to be patient. And the last one is if my enemies don't get the 4 negative. Yeah, it is always a mind twister. So if somebody wanted to harm my enemy, but then another person is preventing that. Yeah. So if I have a colleague that I don't like and somebody wanted to, I don't know, kick him out of the office, then I would have been happy, but somebody is preventing that. So my bad colleague stays in my office. So that is another situation I have to be patient with. So these are 24 situations I need patience. And then it is multiplied by 3, just for fun. No, because of the 3 times. And that makes 27. So for example, yesterday somebody prevented that my enemy suffered. Today, somebody is preventing that my enemy gets scolded. Tomorrow, somebody prevents that my mother gets her present. So, yeah, I hope you got the idea. Always think of these 4, and then you know there can be positive 4 or negative 4, and they're directly in opposite. And then it's relating to myself is one group, my friends, lovers, teachers, parents are the other group, and then the third group is my enemies. And then you come up with these 72 very easy to remember kind of situations where we need patience. Yeah, I'm sorry that we had to go through that. They're actually I'm sure you have heard about the 8 worldly dharmas. These are those, you know. We have we want 4 of them, and we have fear to experience the negative 4 of them: suffering, happiness, respect, disrespect, nice words, harsh words, and pleasant situation, unpleasant situation. So that is normally how we struggle in samsara. We have hope to get the 4 good ones, and we are afraid of getting the 4 negative ones. And here in all these permutations, you know, there are like 72 possibilities that the negative 4 are happening, or the positive 4 are not happening. And so that is in general how patience is needed. Of course, you can summarize it. Summary, I don't get what I want, and I get what I don't want. This is sort of the summary of all that. That is what could happen in my life. I want my enemy to suffer, but I'm not getting that. Or I want to be healthy, but I'm not getting that. Yeah, but instead I get what I don't want, which is the sickness. As you see, the want is in both. So wanting could be a problem, but that needs to be explored. Okay, and then Shantideva is starting with this point. If I get suffering, the very first of all these how to be patient when we ourselves suffer. And that wait, the 72 are clear, right? You can just do like whatever, yeah. And yeah, here what I said earlier already, the point now when we are suffering in whatever way, mentally or physically, and many things are only mentally, the important thing is now what is coming in the verses, in the coming verses, is the acceptance of suffering or the acceptance of difficult situation. That is sort of the headline or the heading of the verses that are coming now, 12 to 21, where we accept suffering. That is so important. It doesn't mean that we ask for suffering or that we create more causes for suffering. But of course, it implies that we understand what suffering is, in case it is so subtle, but it's important to understand what suffering is. And then, just accept it. You know what I mentioned earlier? I think it was in regard to Katja's question. If you are frustrated with suffering or a difficult situation, that frustration or worry, I think her family is worrying then extra on top of the problem, then it creates a second problem. So everything worry or anger with the problem or frustration, it all comes from aversion to the problem. And aversion to the problem here is aimed to be counteracted by accepting the problem. So we try to accept whatever difficult situations we are finding ourselves in. And this acceptance, has many benefits. You know, we are not creating another problem on top of it. And secondly, also we are open to find a solution, or we are open maybe also to analyze the suffering, maybe see the empty nature of the whatever is happening. And this here in the first verse, maybe it's not really comforting for our mind, but a little bit maybe it is saying here in the first verse, like number 12 of this part, that the causes of happiness sometimes occur, but the cause of suffering are very many. So according to the commentaries, that is the definition of samsara, that like real happiness is really rare. And happiness here is like, we get the respect, we get the happiness, we get the nice words, we get the pleasant situations. It is rare because we don't create so many causes for happiness. But suffering manifests very often because our habit is like that we like our negative emotions, and therefore we do accumulate negative karma, and therefore we do suffer quite a big deal again and again. And so that is the first step to accept the suffering, to understand that this is just how things are in a samsaric mind state. Samsara, of course, is just like a synonym for confusion, like this mind state. Whenever as long as we are in that situation, in that mind state, it's rare that something good is happening, and it's more likely that some problems are happening. Just accepting that in general, as I said, is already the first step, because it lowers our expectations in samsara. If we have somebody was saying fixing things, I forgot who that was, Ray or Emily or Katja, and if we think problems in samsara are fixable, that is a delusion, that it's not, we cannot fix it, at least not in a long-term fashion. And sometimes when we manage to fix something, then that is actually also dangerous, because it might create even more hope that other things are also fixable. So in samsara, again, the confused mind state, there is not so much real happiness. But as you know, we have these 3 types of suffering, and they are relatively easy to notice, like direct suffering, like migraine. But also we have very subtle suffering, like very subtle insecurities or fears, or always the hope that the next one is better. You know, the next president will be better, or the next treatment will be better, or the next teacher will be better. We always hope for the next iPhone to be better. So, and that is endless. That is a more subtle suffering that we have in samsara. But again, gross suffering is very easy to feel. And the beauty of us humans is, of course, that and that's why the human realm is quite conducive for enlightenment, is that we have both, that we have suffering and happiness. If we would have a life that is depicted like hell realm, which means if we would only have suffering, we would not even know that there is a state without suffering, and we would not have any energy or any space in our mind to find a solution, because it's just overwhelming. And then if we would live in what is archetype-wise depicted as the God realm, if we would live there, then we would only have happiness. And then, we would become very careless or lazy. What is it? Nonchalant in French, I guess. Very careless, and we just would enjoy whatever good things are happening, but we would not think about creating new causes for new happiness in the future, or forget about creating wanting to attain enlightenment, because this disenchantment or disheartenment with samsara only happens if we suffer. It will not happen if everything goes well all the time, like in the God realm. And that, I think that is what is meant in the next line here. Without suffering, there is no disenchantment with samsara. There's no longing for freedom. So we can try to see some benefit in suffering that helps us to accept suffering. And so suffering could be even taken as a teacher, so that suffering teaches us that, yes, or reminds us that in what situation we are, and what samsara means. I think some people would even go so far, like with medicine, you know, if one has a sickness, that some people would say that the sickness is telling you that, you know, is reminding you that samsara is full of suffering. And so they say, if you constantly ignore the fact that samsara is suffering, then maybe it's showing, it is reminding you through a sickness, you know, that there is so much suffering and that there's nothing in control, and and that we are not independent of anything. So so suffering can help us and inspire us and trigger our renunciation, or our understanding about the defects of samsara. And therefore, my mind, you should stand firm. I don't know if you know Tibetan, but in Tibetan it's Tenpa Nö, and this means should stand firm, like Tenpa is firm, but it could also mean like we should really think carefully and deeply about that, and really reflect upon suffering and all types of suffering. And yeah, and there are also many quotes mentioned in the commentaries that how suffering is really bringing us to the Dharma and therefore leading us to liberation, and that suffering is really a good reminder for our practice. And yeah, I think with everybody that I talked so far who became a Buddhist, it is like there's always suffering involved in the process why one becomes a Buddhist. Some also have some insights, and so they've wondered about reality and how true things are, and then this insight was also opening them up, and then that resonated with the Dharma. But many, I think, came through suffering, because otherwise, why change? Why do all the spiritual practices and why all the study, contemplation, and meditation if there is no suffering? It's I don't know. Today, so many medical examples come in my mind. But if somebody has a disease, but let's say diabetes, which is not maybe so obvious in the beginning, you don't really suffer from it. So if that diabetes patient, we call it in German, doesn't have, is not conscious about having a problem, Inge, Problembewusstsein oder Krankheitseinsicht. So if that person has no understanding that he or she has actually a disease, this person with this asymptomatic diabetes has very little interest to do any therapy or any changes in their lifestyle. Yeah. So therefore one has to explain them, yes, you have diabetes, we can see it in the blood results. And if you don't change your lifestyle, this will create a lot of complications. So even though they don't suffer now, we have to show, yes, in the future, you will suffer if you don't do anything now. So that understanding of having a problem, or that understanding of suffering or being in samsara, is it's very important to then be inspired to do something about it. So that's why Buddha also started his teaching by know the suffering. So that in that example with the patient who has diabetes, it's first important that this person understands, yes, I have diabetes. I know the problem. And then Buddha, in the second noble truth, said, okay. And then once you know the problem, then it's not. Then the main thing is to then remove the causes of the problem. That is the second noble truth, to abandon the causes of suffering. And Dzongsar Khyentse Rinpoche was really emphasizing when he talked about the truth that Buddha didn't say abandon the suffering. He wanted to emphasize that it's not about abandoning suffering. It's about knowing the suffering, so that we know what are the problems, what is the suffering, but then also understand that the suffering and the problem is only a result of a cause, and therefore the second noble truth teaches the cause of suffering, which are karma and negative emotions. And that is what needs to be abandoned. That is what one needs to work on. And that is the verse here, verse 12 it was, that talks about, that we really should know the suffering, and that should inspire us then to look for the causes. And then we try to apply the antidotes. Yeah, and here in our situation, we understand anger as a problem. That is the first step. And then we look at the causes of anger. That is this irritation and this frustration. And then those we abandon to avoid anger, because that creates a lot of suffering. I think that's it for today. Or is there any final thing somebody wants to say or discuss or debate?
Hey, Arne.
Hi, Jason. Nice background.
Forgive such a basic question. You probably covered it in a previous section, but why anger? So I asked the question because you've got 6 root defilements or kleshas. So why pick out anger of all the other problematic situations? And I asked that also in part because when you talk about those situations, the 4 that become 12, 12, 72, we're talking about responses like secondary emotions as opposed to anger. So I guess I'll just ask the question, why anger and not any of the other kleshas or emotions or situations or whatever?
Regarding the 72, these are not secondary emotions, but that are 72 possible situations where anger could arise. So that is how it's meant.
Okay.
So like, let's say you are my friend, and so if somebody is harming you or if you are suffering, then I could get angry, you know? So, and then in that situation, I need my patience. And then the opposite, if my enemy is getting praised, then I also get angry, you know? So I need patience in that situation. So these 72. And then why anger? In the first verse of chapter 6, Shantideva is saying, that anger is the most destructive of all negative emotions because it destroys, so like in one moment he says, it destroys like so many kalpas of virtue. There's a big debate how literally one could take it or not. But anger is the opposite of love, right? If I love somebody, then I don't want any distance to that person, and it's nearly like an extended me. That person is like me. It's like mine. It's very close, and I want all the best for that person. I want him or her to be happy. But anger is the opposite, I want to create a distance to a person, and I want him or her to suffer or to have a bad situation. So the dualism is really getting bigger or more concrete through hatred, and love is the opposite, it's more non-dual thing. It's more a selfless thing, and anger is more a selfish thing. And out of the emotions, yes, anger, the good thing is it's very easy to recognize because it is so strong. But desire has a little bit appreciative aspect also. Let's say I desire another human being, like sexually even, of course it's desire. So there's a blinding thing in it, but also I appreciate something in that person. And jealousy also has a little bit appreciation, if then somebody else comes in and is taking this nice person away from me, I still appreciate that nice person, and I'm angry about the person who's my competition. And it's not so strong. I mean, it might be longer, the jealousy, but it's not so strong. And proud, of course, is also negative, yes, because it makes you very unopen and close to learn more. Yeah, anyway, they always say like anger is the strongest and therefore patience is the best. And another context why we talk about anger is because Shantideva wants to present the 6 parameters in the Bodhicaryavatara. And the first parameter is a little bit spread, but there the problem of stinginess is addressed. Therefore, we practice generosity. So stinginess was already covered, and then immoral behavior is also covered by the chapter 4 and 5 by learning how to be disciplined. And now, we are in the middle of chapter 6. So here, anger is our main culprit. And therefore patience is our main practice and therapy. And then chapter 7 is talking about the laziness we have, and therefore enthusiastic effort is our hero. And then chapter 8 is about distraction and the love to be dependent on outer things, and therefore, concentrative meditation is the antidote. And then wisdom in the 9th chapter is against our dodgy ideas and views. So we have different in the whole text. We have different problems that are mentioned, and then we have the appropriate antidote. So since now we are in the 6th chapter, our arch enemy here is anger or hatred. Sorry for that long answer, but okay, then let's dedicate. Let's do it very classical today. I have the dedication somewhere. It's very short. Because we always want to dedicate whatever good things we have accumulated just by thinking, reflecting, and talking about Shantideva's wisdom. We want to dedicate and share that with everyone. And I always like to say, please especially share it with those difficult people in the world, who maybe have powerful situations, positions, and do many harm to the world. They need it mostly, everybody needs it, but especially them, they need sanity and good wishes, good vibes. And so we dedicate all the good energy to them. Through this merit, may all beings attain the omniscient state of enlightenment and conquer the enemy of false and delusion. May they all be liberated from this ocean of samsara and from its pounding waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. May I be reborn again and again, and in all my lives may I carry the weight of Buddha Shakyamuni's teachings. And if I cannot bear that weight, at the very least, may I be born with the burden of thinking that the Buddha Dharma could reign. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank
By
you,
the way,
everyone.
I was in Taiwan this morning.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. It was a nice teaching, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for your interactiveness. Very appreciated.
Thank you very much.
And see you in December if you like. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.